Now, next topic is Minkowski inequality. So, what is Minkowski inequality? Let x is equal to n tuple x1, x2 up to xn. Similarly, y is equal to y1, y2, yn, and 1 less than p less than infinity. Then norm of x plus y less than equal to norm of x plus norm of y. So this is called a Minkowski inequality. So first understand what is the value of norm of x. So what is the norm of xp? So this is a summation of xi raised to power p, and this is 1 by p. So that is a norm defined in this case. Our purpose is to prove the equation number 1. Now we will prove if this p is greater than equal to 1. So we will prove this result for p equal to 1. So in case of p is equal to 1, so what is norm of x plus y, and this is 1. So this is equal to summation of absolute value xi plus yi, and I is running from 1 to n. Clear? So by using triangle inequality in real space, in real or complex number, so this value is less than equal to summation of xi, I is running from 1 to n, plus summation of yi, where I is running from 1 to n. So what is this? This is a norm x1. What is this? It is a norm y1, base 1. So it means this result is true for p equal to 1. Yeah. Now assume p is greater than equal to 1. So now let p is greater than equal to 1. Here we take, if we take p is greater than equal to 1, and also we know that 1 by p plus 1 by q, which is equal to 1, it implies 1 by q, which is equal to 1 minus 1 by p, right? So from this p is greater than 1, so 1 by p is less than 1, right? So minus 1 by p is greater than minus 1. Clear? So what is 1 minus 1 by p is greater than 1 minus 1. So this is a 1 by q, which is greater than 0. So this is q is greater than 0, right? Now in order to prove the result in case of p greater than 1, so we take norm of x plus y base p, right? So what is norm of, so here we take norm of x plus y and base p. Clear? So this is a summation of xi plus yi raised to power p, I is running from 1 to n, and this entire term which is equal to 1 by p. Clear? Now if taking p power on both sides, so we get here which is p, and here we get this is removed, and again this is removed, so this value is equal to this values. Now this term can be written as, this is raised to power p, so this term can be written as p minus 1 into xi plus yi raised to power 1. Because the base is same, then there is addition of power, so we get the total value p, right? And this p minus 1 is positive because p is greater than 1. In that case, p minus 1 is positive. Now apply triangle inequality to this values. Clear? So I take this is as a first term, this is as second term. Now by taking triangle inequality, we get this is less than equal to summation of xi norm xi plus yi raised to power p minus 1. Here it is I running from 1 to n plus summation of yi raised to power p into xi plus yi raised to power p minus 1, and I is running from 1 to n. Clear? So here we apply the triangle inequality so to this term, and this term is less than equal to absolute value of xi plus absolute value of yi, so total sum is equal to this values. Now we will apply the Holder inequality to this product. This is first term and this is second term. Similarly, this is a first term and this is a second term. So what is the Holder inequality? We already proved norm of xi yi less than equal to norm of xp into norm of yq, right? Where 1 by p plus 1 by q is equal to 1. So this is a Holder inequality. So by using Holder inequality, so we get this term can be written as, also we can also written in the summation raised to power 1 by p, and this can also be written in this form. So this value is equal to less than equal to, so there is no difference in first term. So this is a norm of x over p. Clear? Now this term, basically this term, so basically what is this term? Remember, this term is yi raised to power q and raised to power 1 by q, this term. Clear? So our purpose is to first take the power q to this term and then take the power 1 by q, right? So this will become summation of xi plus yi raised to power q into p minus 1, right? And this entire term again raised to power 1 by q. Clear? That is in term of summation. So summation of this term is again raised to power 1 by q. So that is the, we apply the triangle inequality to the first term. So similarly we can apply the triangle inequality to the second term, right? So what we get in the second term, so first term is the same as in this, so this will be plus norm of y and this is a p. Clear? So this is bracket which is a summation. What is summation? Summation is I running from 1 to n, and this is xi plus yi raised to power q into p minus 1, and this is again raised to power 1 by q. Clear? So this term and this term is the same. So remember, now my purpose is to simplify this term. How we can simplify this term? To simplify this term is, now this is, we know that 1 by p plus 1 by q which is equal to 1. So what we get? We get, if we multiply by q on both sides, So this is q by p plus 1, which is a q, right? So this can be, our purpose is to find q into p minus 1, right? Q into p minus 1. Now this implies q into 1 minus 1 by p, which is equal to, from this is shifted to this, which is equal to 1. So q into p minus 1 which is equal to q into p minus 1, so which is equal to p, this values. Clear? So it means this term is simply p, right? If this term is simply p, now I replace in both cases, q minus p minus 1, this is a p term. Clear? So this is absolute value and raised to power p. Now to find the norm, I need raised to power 1 by p. So if my purpose is to find the raised to power 1 by p, so I take 1 by p and this again raised to power p by q. Clear? So what we get? This term will become norm of x, y, and this is norm p, and the entire term is raised to power p by q. Clear? So this is less than equal to norm of x p into this. Similarly, norm of y p into norm of x plus y, this p, and raised to power p by q. Clear? Now next step, this is again less than equal to norm of x p plus norm of y p into raised to power norm of x plus y p, and entire term is raised to power p by q. Clear? Now divide by these terms. To simplify, we in the left hand side we have the term which is norm of x plus y raised to power p. In the right hand side we have this raised to power p by q. So what we get? We get it implies norm of x plus y p raised to power p minus p by q, this term, which is less than equal to norm of x p plus norm of y p. Clear? Now our purpose is to find the value of p minus p by q. Again we are using 1 by p plus 1 by q, which is equal to 1, right? So multiply by p. So this is 1 plus p by q, which is equal to p. So p minus p by q, which is equal to 1. So what we get? We get this term is equal to 1. If this term is equal to 1, so we prove the Minkowski inequality, norm of x plus y p, which is less than norm of x p plus norm of y p, and this is applicable when 1 less than equal to p and less than infinity. Clear? So this is very important result. This result is used to prove the triangle inequality in case of the examples of non-linear space and Banach space. Clear? So this after that we have a Cauchy inequality. After this result, we have the Cauchy inequality. So what is the statement of Cauchy inequality? So this is a, let x is equal to x1, x2, xn, y is equal to y1, y2, yn be n tuple scalars, then it satisfies this condition. Here the norm is of this kind. This is I running from 1 to n, this is raised to power 2 and raised to power 1 by 2. Basically it is a special case of Holder inequality. In this case the value of p is equal to 2. Now we prove Holder inequality. What is Holder inequality? It was summation of xi, yi, I is running from 1 to n, which is less than equal to norm of xp into norm of y q, right? This is a Holder inequality, right? Now in the given Holder inequality, the norm of xp, this can be basically summation of xi raised to power p, then the entire term is again raised to power 1 by p. Similarly in case of y. So when we take p and q, which is equal to 2, so again it satisfies this condition, 1 by p plus 1 by q, which is equal to 1. So this satisfies this condition. If this satisfies this condition, so we get this is summation of xi, yi, which is less than equal to summation xi raised to power 2, and this is again raised to power 1 by 2. So this is summation of yi raised to power 2. So this is again raised to power 1 by 2. So this is a Cauchy inequality. So Cauchy inequality is the special case of Holder inequality. So in that case we just substitute the value of p and value of q, which is equal to 2. So in that case it satisfies the condition p by q, which is equal to 1 by p plus 1 by q, which is equal to 1, right? So we prove that these are the some property of norm-linear space and some basic inequality that will be useful to prove the case, prove the example as a normed space or Banach space. Clear? So our purpose is how we can solve the question, how we can prove the result कि this space is a Banach space या this space is a norm-linear space. Clear? Now in order to prove the norm-linear space, just I remind the following properties. Our purpose is to prove the property number 1. If norm of x or f equal to greater than equal to 0, first property, it should be positive. This is some function, that is some function defined, and this is first property, it should be greater than equal to 0. What is second property? If norm of this vector is 0, then it implies that vector is 0. If that vector is 0, then it implies norm is 0. So this is second property. Third property, which is triangle inequality, this is x plus y, which is less than equal to norm of x plus norm of y. Clear? If this function is norm, then it satisfies the 4 properties. And fourth property, this is norm of alpha x, which is equal to absolute value of alpha into norm of x. Clear? So what is alpha? Alpha is a scalar. Now here my question is C of x. What is C of x? First, the given is C of x. It consisting the all scalar valued function defined upon the space x. So it is a all continuous function on metric space or topological space x. And norm is given. What is norm? Norm of f. This is a function. And this is a supremum of absolute value of fx for every x belongs to x, where f belongs to C of x. Suppose it is equation number 1. So my purpose is to prove that this C of x is a Banach space. Banach space means it satisfies all the 4 properties, number 1. Number 2, it is a complete. It is a complete. So if it satisfies all the property, in that case, this is a nonlinear space, right? If it is a nonlinear space, after nonlinear space, if it is a complete, then it will be a Banach space. So remember that. To prove this result, our purpose is to prove that first it is a nonlinear space and then it is a Banach space. Clear? So these are our purpose. Now what is Cx? First remember, it is a all bounded continuous scalar valued function defined on x. So if f belongs to C of x, so what is f? F is bounded, number 1. Number 1, it is a bounded. Number 2, it is a continuous. Number 3, it is a scalar valued, right, function, right? This is a scalar valued function on x. So it is a continuous bounded scalar valued function on x. So property number proof. First, our purpose is property number first. We know that absolute value, or even I can say that absolute value of any number f of x, this is functional value, which is always greater than equal to 0. So this is a for every x belongs to capital X, right? If this value is positive, then this set is a set of positive number. Clear? This set is set of positive number. Then the maximum value means supremum of positive number in again positive. So what is this? This is a norm of f. This is a norm of f. So it proves the first property. Clear? So remember, to prove first property, it is very easy, it is very trivial, right? Property number 2. Property number 2. Now property number 2, let this norm of f, which is equal to 0. Suppose it implies supremum of absolute value of fx, right? This is for every x belongs to x is 0, right? It implies absolute value of fx is equal to 0. It implies f of x is equal to 0 for every x belongs to capital X, and it implies f is equal to 0 function. So this is a 0 function. Yeah. Now understand this step. there is some confusion to some student. So understand this step. Supremum of set is 0. It is not necessary that each number will be 0. Clear? For example, if I have a set 1, minus 1, 0 and 2, suppose, right? Now in this case, minus 1, minus 2, minus 4 and 0. Now in this case, supremum is, maximum value is 0. Clear? Maximum value is 0. But it is not necessary that all the terms are 0. This is all the 3 terms are non-zero. Why? So this is possible only in the case of positive number. Here absolute value is a positive number. If it is a set of positive number and its supremum is 0, in that case its function values, each element is 0. Clear? Now if there is some set of positive number and whose maximum value is 0, so each element of that set will be 0. Clear? So that's why this value is for each x belongs to capital X, satisfy this condition. Now reverse the process, f is 0, f of x 0, this 0. If each term is 0, then its supremum is 0, then it implies a norm of f is equal to 0. Clear? So it proved the result number 2. So we prove the property number 2. Now property number 3, which is a triangle inequality. So in that case, what we take f and g which belongs to C of x. So remember, it is a bounded continuous function. Now what is norm of f plus g? This is equal to supremum of this set f plus g of x, right? For every x belongs to capital X, right? So this can be written as supremum of set f of x plus g of x. Clear? X belongs to capital X. Now apply triangle inequality to these two values, these two vector, these two element, these two scalar, because it is a scalar valued function. So in real or complex, it satisfies triangle inequality. So this is less than equal to absolute value of fx, x belongs to capital X, plus absolute value of gx, or such that x belongs to capital X. Now taking supremum, here taking supremum, so it implies less than equal to norm of f plus norm of g. So it satisfies the triangle inequality, norm of f plus g, which is less than equal to norm of f plus norm of g. After that, fourth property. Now what is fourth property? Fourth property is norm of alpha f. Clear? So this is equal to supremum of set which is an absolute value of alpha fx. Clear? For every x belongs to capital X, this value, and this can be written as supremum, which is absolute value of alpha and f of x, x belongs to capital X. Now what is the absolute value of alpha? So this is a positive number. So if we take positive number outside, then supremum will never change. Supremum will be supremum, infimum will be infimum. But in case of negative number, supremum will be converted to infimum, infimum will be converted to supremum. Here it is a positive number, so absolute value of alpha, which is a supremum of absolute value of fx, and this is x belongs to capital X. So what is this? This is a absolute value of alpha into norm of f. So it satisfies the property number 4. If it satisfies the property number 4, then with that norm, this space C of x, which is a normed linear space, it was already linear space, so we prove the norm, so it will become normed linear space. Now if it is a normed linear space, now next our purpose is to prove it is a Banach space. To prove it is a Banach space, our purpose is to prove that it is a complete space. So what is complete? If we take some Cauchy sequence in C of x and it converges to the point of C of x, so in that case it is a Banach space. So let I take, this is Fn be a Cauchy sequence in C of x, right? So what is Fn? It is a bounded continuous function. It is a Cauchy sequence. By definition of Cauchy sequence, for epsilon greater than 0, there exists a positive integer capital N such that norm of Fn minus Fm, which is less than epsilon, for every mn greater than equal to n. Clear? It implies by substituting the value. So what is this? It is a supremum of absolute value of Fnx minus Fmx, right? For every x belongs to capital X, and this is less than epsilon for every mn greater than equal to n. Clear? Now if the maximum value of any set is less than epsilon, then it means each term is less than epsilon. So what we get? We get Fnx minus Fmx, which is less than epsilon for every mn greater than equal to capital N. So what we get? It implies this is, so just remember the Cauchy criteria for uniform convergence. So by Cauchy criteria for uniform convergence, this sequence, because it is a sequence of continuous function, so this sequence Fn, it converge, this sequence converge uniformly, this sequence converge uniformly on a set X. Clear? If converge uniformly on a X, then it means there exists some function f belongs to C of x such that limit of n approaches infinity, Fn which is equal to f. Clear? So Fn sequence converge to f. So what is f? F belongs to C of x. So it means it satisfies the property of completeness. Then it implies C of x is complete. C of x is complete. If C of x is complete, then C of x is a Banach space. So every complete norm space which is called a Banach space. So in this way we can prove every question, every example. Is it nonlinear space? Is it Banach space? So this is the way in which we can satisfy each property so that we can prove that it is a nonlinear space, and if it is a complete, then it is a Banach space. So it was a example number 1. On the same line of action, we can prove the another result, which is example number 2, right? So which is example number 2. So there is nothing extra to that, so just satisfy. Now in this case, remember, it is a Euclidean space or unitary space. So what is Euclidean space? This is r raised to power n, and unitary space, it is c raised to power n. Clear? So this is a of n tuples of real or complex numbers, and this is a Banach space under this norm. Clear? So this can be proved on the same line of action. So first we prove the 4 property. Number 1, norm of x should be greater than equal to 0. Property number 2, if norm of x is 0, then it implies x is 0. And property number 3, norm of x plus y less than equal to norm of x plus norm of y. We already proved this property number 3. This is basically nothing, it is a Cauchy inequality. Right? So by Cauchy inequality, or we can also say that by Minkowski inequality, just substitute the p value of p is equal to 2. So we prove the property number 3, and similarly 4th property, norm of alpha x, which is absolute value of alpha, and this is norm of x. Clear? So same line of action, we prove that this is a normed linear space. Now major part to prove Banach space, is it complete? So in order to prove it is a complete, so first we take a Cauchy sequence, and then we will satisfy it is convergent in the given space, in the given Euclidean and unitary space. Right? So this is our result. On same line of action, we can prove this example.